Okay, getting into you know, a little bit of our dress code. Okay, and this is the breastplate. All right, and it says the breastplate on the central figure, the herald or the Oseen, who is called by Stanley the town crier, is strikingly similar to the breastplate of the high priest among the ancient Hebrews, even to its division in 12 parts. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go down a little bit. Vestige of the high priest. But it is well to remember that Professor Clay holds that the breastplate was not peculiar to the Hebrews. It was to be found as well in Egypt and probably elsewhere. So the breastplate wasn't only worn by Israelites, it was worn by other nations as well. But this is what signifies it. This is what lets you know that this is the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay. However, the division of the breastplate into 12 parts is certainly distinctive. So also is the headdress with the gold disc in front. So the breastplate was separated into 12 parts, man. The 12 stones, each representing a tribe of the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes in general, man. Okay, and this is a picture of it. I'm not sure if you brothers can see it. I mean, if not, you know, then I'll just, you know, throw the image up afterwards, you know, but that's the breastplate that we wore, okay, that our people wore, man. Okay, and yeah, the misnefit. Okay, the misnefit. All right, it says a peculiar wound turban with a peak, the front of which bore a gold plate with the inscription. It says holy unto YHWH, and we know that that means what? Yahawah in the Hebrew. So they wore a turban with the gold plate in the front of it that said holy unto Yahawah. And that's right according along with scripture. That doesn't apply to any African civilizations or any African history. That applies to Hebrew Israelite history. Okay? And yeah, it's Exodus chapter 28 verse 36. And thou shalt make a plate of pure gold, and grave upon it like the engravings of a signet, holiness unto the Lord. Like how in here it said what? The gold-plated inscription said, holy unto Yahawah. Okay? And thou shalt put it on a blue lace, that it may be upon the mitre. Upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be. Just like here in the book. Okay? And it shall be upon Aaron's forehead, that Aaron may bear the iniquity of the holy things which the children of Israel shall hallow in all their holy gifts. And it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before the Lord. So this was according to what? The priestly garments and what the priests had to wear to conduct the ceremonies of Israel. Okay? So this is all going in accordance with the nation of Israel, and nothing pertaining at all to them damn Hamites. Okay? So just another quick pointer, and this is all just what basically just from this one book alone. And all this is historical facts. They have all the notes and the historical books written down there in the fine print, you know, at the bottom of each page, man. So this guy talking about we don't have all these facts, I don't know what he's talking about, man. You know. Okay, just this point right here. It says this is in Summary of Clearage, around page 31. It says the general sum of these traditions is that the Fanti, okay, the Fanti, the Ashanti, and the Wawasa, okay, these three tribes, and in fact all Twi-speaking or Akan peoples were originally one tribe. Okay, so and what he said, what the Akan in the Akan region, they speak the language of Twi, but it clearly said the Twi-speaking or Akan peoples were originally one tribe. Okay, so showing you, I mean, the rites and the rituals and some of the things of the Ashanti that they apply to the Hebrew Israelites. If all these three tribes were originally one, then that means what? They all had to be bearing, okay, Israelite customs. They all had to have Israelite customs. So those three tribes right there, the Fanti, the Ashanti, and the Wawasa, all of these three and all other tribes over there within the Akan region were Twi-speaking, okay, were Hebrew Israelite tribes, man. Okay, and like I said before, Ashanti primarily goes back, Ashanti primarily in the west coast of Africa was Benjamin, man. And just to show that further point, okay, this is all within the history. You can Google it, look it up, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth, man. It's all there, it's all plain as day, man. Okay. Okay, just I'm gonna hit a couple more pointers. And it says this is the origin of Coromantans. The term the term Coromantan, or as we frequently find in Coromantan spelt with a C, was not the name of any particular race or tribe. Strictly speaking, it was applied in general to those slaves who were brought from the Gold Coast in West Africa who measured up to a certain standard of quality. So the term Coromantan was basically used for a slave that was of a certain quality, of a certain high standard. Like in slavery, you had the term called named only built for Cuban links, okay? And only built for Cuban links, that term applied to the Coromantans because they were of a high stature, and primarily the tribe of Benjamin, okay, which were the Ashanti, because they were known to rebel. And they were known as some of the highest stature slaves over there in the west coast of Africa. And they were very well known to rebel. Now, of course, it wasn't just Benjamin. Within the Ashanti, of course, you had Judah and Levi mixed in there. But primarily the Ashanti were of the tribe of Benjamin. Okay? Okay, now going to this next point. It says leaders of Maroons. Moreover, in connection with the fearless independence and uncompromising spirit of the Gold Coast Negro, meaning what? They weren't willing to compromise with the so-called white man. Okay, whether we call him Ashanti or Coromantan. Now, in the previous point, it said what? The Coromantans wasn't any specific race or tribe, but now they equated the Ashanti or the Coromantan because Ashanti was the primarily strong one that was called the Coromantan, okay, because they measured up to that certain high standard. All right. It is well to remember that the Maroons of the Jamaica Mountains, who wrote their own chapter of daring in the history of the island, were for the most part recruited, at least regards their leaders, from the same group. Okay, so the Maroons of Jamaica were recruited, or mainly the leaders were from the Ashanti tribe that was taken over there into Jamaica. And when you look up the term maroon, maroons, from the Latin American Spanish word cimarron, feral animal, fugitive, runaway, literally living on mountaintops, because you know it's vast mountainous areas over there in West Indies. From Spanish cima, top summit, where African refugees that escaped slavery in the Americas and formed independent settlements. So this term maroon, it generally applied to Benjamin, but it also applied to our brothers of the north as well. Okay, and I'm gonna show that. All right, maroon, very dark reddish brown color, from French color marron, the color of a marron chestnut. Okay, or from Greek marron, sweet chestnut. Okay, so the very dark reddish brown color, they attributed that unto our brothers of the northern kingdom. Okay, that wound up joining up with Benjamin, you know what I'm saying, and fleeing and rebelling against Esau as well. Okay, so they attributed maroon unto their color and for the fact that they joined up with Benjamin. Okay, now this term of maroon was used for Benjamin, put ashore on a desolate island or coast, earlier to be lost in the wild from Maron, fugitive black slave in the jungles of West Indies. Okay, and it said what? Fugitive black slave, so that applies to Benjamin. Okay, but we had our brothers, the Tainos, over there from the tribe of Ephraim over there as well, slave in the jungles of West Indies and Dutch Guyana, because down there in you know, the top of South America, you got a lot of Benjamin in Guyana. And I forgot what's the other country that's right next to it, but you got a lot of Benjamin over there as well. Okay, from French marron, said to be a corruption of Spanish cimarron, wild and untamed. So that's the term that they applied unto Benjamin, you know, meaning what? Wild and untamed, because they were known to rebel, and they set off the rebellions, you know, which and they caused our brothers of the northern tribes to follow them and become a part of their rebellions. Okay, so just to give a little further edification on that, and yeah, you had like you know, down there in Florida, you know, these other parts, you had, you know what I mean, Reuben joining up with them, You know, a lot of different northern tribes were joining up with them. You know what I'm saying, to rebel against this devil. Okay, so which part did I want to hit? Yeah, when runaway slaves banded together and subsisted independently, they were called maroons. Okay, so that applied to, you know, both. Okay, on the Caribbean islands, runaway slaves formed bands, and on some islands formed armed camps. Okay, maroon communities faced great odds to survive against white attackers, obtain food for substance living, and to reproduce and increase their numbers. Okay, as the planters took over more land for crops, the maroons began to vanish on the small islands. Only on some of the larger islands were organized maroon communities able to thrive by growing crops and hunting. Okay. Yeah, I just go on because I don't want to read too much in here. All right, it's for little other points. Okay. In Cuba, okay, tribe Manasseh, there were maroon communities in the mountains. Okay, so you know Benjamin and you know Manasseh. Okay, where African refugees, okay, who escaped the brutality of slavery and joined refugee Tainos, from the tribe of Ephraim. So you had all these different tribes mixed together, and they were all called maroons. Okay, yeah. Before roads were built into the mountains of Puerto Rico, heavy brush kept many escaped maroons hidden in the southwestern hills, where many also intermarried with the natives. Okay, escaped Africans sought refuge away from the coastal plantations of Ponce. Remnants of these communities remain to this day. For example, in Vinales, Cuba, and Ajuntes, Puerto Rico. So that just goes to show that we got tribes scattered all over. Some of Benjamin all over. Some of all different tribes is all over, man. Okay. But yeah, another point on the maroons. Okay, and this is at the bottom of page 10. Okay. And it says the maroons are principally descendants of the Gold Coast tribes, okay, and still retain amongst them the same religious superstitions, customs, and common names, as in, for instance, the naming of their children after the days of the week which upon they were born. Okay, moving on, it says they boast of being directly descendant or having been concerned in the Jamaica rebellion at the end of the 18th century. So Benjamin, they like to boast on how they was known to rebel, man, which, proves another point, that they were deemed that term Coromontans for, because they were known to rebel, man, all right, as partisans of King Cujo, their leader. Right, and King Cujo, I believe he was in the early 17th century, and he was causing major hell against the Edomites during that time. But eventually, once he got a little older, he wound up, bowing down to Esau and signing a treaty with them. I forgot what the term of the treaty was called, but he signed a treaty with them, but he was giving Esau, crazy types of hell, man. Giving all them types of rebellions, so on and so forth, in the early 1700s, man, the first half of the 1700s, okay? And a while ago, I looked up the term Cujo when I was really getting into this, a few months back. And when you look up that word Cujo, Cujo goes back to Judah, okay? That's what the word Cujo goes back. The word Cujo goes back to Judah. I'm going to try to find it again because I ain't looked it up in a while. But the term Cujo goes back to the word Judah, okay? Like you got, Boris Cujo, okay? His mother is a white woman, but his father is from the west coast of Africa. His father is from over there in Ghana, okay? That term Cujo goes back to the word Judah, man, all right? So, and you have other famous actors and stuff that are over there from the west coast of Africa and from various parts of Africa, and they don't look like no damn Africans, man. Of course, you're going to have some of our people that do look like Africans, but, you have some of our people that are over there that don't look like Africans, man, okay? And that, like I said, that term Cujo, it goes back to the word Judah. And you have various other significant names and rivers and things of that nature over there in the west coast of Africa, which applied to the Israelites. Like you had I believe it was like a river over there in the west coast of Africa, you know what I'm saying, with the name Gihon. Okay, Gihon goes back to the scriptures, goes back to the Garden of Eden, which go through the land of Jerusalem. Okay, so why would an African apply themselves with that term Gihon when that land over there belonged to the Israelites, man? Okay, so you know, that's pretty much it for now. I'm a little willing. I'm gonna try to get into this and try to do another part. You know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, you know, if the Lord is willing. So you know, like I said, man, this lesson, this is for the elect, man. I'm saying, for them brothers out there that may doubt that they're an Israelite, just go with the spirit, man. Just go, if your spirit resonates with being an Israelite, just go with the spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? And all else will fall into place, man. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to the elect out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalom.